everybody.
Hello.
Connie. Okay, so welcome to the Payson Tea Party, April 6th, 2021. And if you will rise, we will open in prayer. Do I have a volunteer? Come on up. We have a volunteer. His name is Ian. Here's Ian.
It's very good. God, thank you so much for this opportunity that we have to assemble as a group of like-minded individuals without fear of persecution just yet. God, help us to come together as a community and to fight for what we believe is right. And as always, your will be done. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. And you notice how young Ian is. We are starting to get some younger people coming to our Payson Tea Party. Okay, and we have the flag.
Yes.
Ready? I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, welcome. We have a lot of new people here this evening, and if you are not already on the Payson Tea Party mail list, we send out the mail list on usually Friday evenings to tell about the Tea Party meeting that's coming up the following Tuesday. We are starting now to be having meetings on a weekly basis. Sometime in the middle of May, we may or may not start meeting again at Tiny's. However, the last 2 meetings that we've had over 75 people at our meetings. So we're getting really good speakers on, if you will look in your little, we have constitutions for people who are first-time guests. And since so many of you are new, I'm going to read our mission statement. I should have it memorized, but you know. It's better if I read it. Okay, we the people have been silent too long. The Payson Tea Party is committed to practicing our civic duty as delineated by our U.S. Constitution, the supreme law of the land. We strive to educate, inform, and encourage all citizens to become involved in the political process, focusing on fiscal responsibility, less spending, and fewer regulations at the local, county, state, and federal levels. And if you want to have we have 10 goals and 10 key principles. If you are interested, you can get a constitution and find that inside our constitution that we can this month. Okay. So without further ado, I know you're all waiting with bated breath. Okay, so come on up, Mayor Tom Morrissey. And let me tell you how our meetings work. We have our speaker. He'll go on for about a half an hour, and then we'll have about another half an hour of Q&A. So we have 2 microphones here. So I'll need one other person to work this aisle, and I'll work this aisle, and you have to raise your hand, and we go, who raises their hand first, that's what side we start on. So if we start on this side, you would get a question over here, then we get a question over there, and then we get a question over here, and then we get a question over there. And so we alternate, and keep your questions kind of concise, so everybody can get a question in that wants to. Okay? Thanks.
Thank you, Shirley. Everybody give her a round of applause. This woman works. And I do mean that. She doesn't stop for a minute. She kind of like the Energizer Bunny. Before we get started, I would ask all the veterans to stand and be recognized, please. Thank you, brothers and sisters. Without the veterans, we wouldn't be. Just like without the Second Amendment, we wouldn't be. And I caution everybody to pay close attention to that fact, because the Second Amendment is under attack. It seems like every time a certain part of our country gets in control, first thing they do is go after the guns. And the Second Amendment guarantees all the other amendments. And I love the adage that says the following: a country that fears its government, there is tyranny. And a country where the government fears the people, there is liberty. And keep that front and foremost in your minds. We, the people, run this country. The government serves at our discretion, and they are our choice. It's expressed through elections. But the main thing to keep in mind is that we, the people, are the country, and not those that we put into office, including myself. I work for you, and we thank you, and also the people that are elected to the town council, and also the people that work for the town where Payson is concerned, the county, up to the state, right up to Washington, D.C. So keep that in mind as we go forward with tonight, some of the comments that I want to make to you. Everybody's pretty interested in what's going on with, there's a lot of chatter about a community center. The fact is, folks, that Taylor Pool is a done turkey. We can't open Taylor Pool for a lot of reasons, because it's unhealthy and it's dangerous, and it does not meet the requirements that are set in the ADA, the Americans with Disabilities Act, that came to us in the early 90s. So that is no longer possible. We can't put a Band-Aid on it and to just be throwing good money after bad. So an opportunity has arisen, manifested in the possibility of a partnership with the Rim Country Educational Alliance, the MHA, and the town of Payson. Right now, there has been a survey done with, I think it was 1,100. Jennifer, how many was it? 1,186 folks were surveyed on what they're looking for as far as recreation goes, indoors and outdoors, and how they feel according to age groups and different demographics. And it was very. I had a presentation today. Jennifer Smith made the presentation to the council, and it was good because it was very clear as to how these 1,100 and so many folks feel about a community center. So what is a community center? What does it incorporate? What is the town prepared to do to bring a community center to the table? There's the talk now is a partnership between the RCEA, or the MHA, a lot of people refer to it, and the town of Payson. And what that would entail would be bringing the community center to the town at no cost to the town. And then turned over.
I don't think so.
I beg your pardon?
I don't think so.
Well,
You'll find a way.
okay. Can you wait until can you hold your comments till the questions? Okay. So the construction, what I'm talking about, the construction of that center would be no cost to the town. Where the cost to the town would come in would be the operation of that center. So I just want to clear the air tonight on the fact that we're still looking at it. Both sides are. We're still looking at the need, which is in a lot of persons' minds critical. Okay, a pool. Give me a show of hands of the people in this room as to how important is a pool, a year-round pool, or a pool important to you? Raise your hands. Okay, there's quite a few people that feel that way. On the other side of it, raise your hands if you don't feel a pool is important. That's pretty much the split. Raise your hands if you think that a catastrophic fire is a existential threat. Raise your hands. Thank you. Raise your hands if you don't think that. Okay. So basically, what we have is if we have a catastrophic fire, then everything we're talking about right now has no meaning. Okay, and we know that. A little later, I'm going to get into a discussion with you on what we're doing about preventing a catastrophic fire. The reason why I ask these questions back to back is because I want you to get a measure of what is most important to us, to you. On one side, community center and a pool is more important to more people in this room than not. Okay, and so that has a degree of importance. The reason why I raised the other question is to measure that against something of importance that's of a completely different nature. Completely different nature. So we can divide our areas of importance up into different sections, like a piece of a pie. Okay, one slice addresses, let's say, the community center with the pool. The other is preventing a catastrophic fire. That's another slice. Another one is quality of schools. Another one is safety. It's down safety. Another one is affordable housing. Just to mention a few. So we have a lot of things that are of importance to us. And just because one is, doesn't mean the others aren't. So I think it's important that we all keep our minds open as we go forward. And looking down the road and to determine what it is that we can do or can be done as opposed to what it is that can't be done. Rolling Stones have a song, you can't always get what you want, but if you try sometime, you sure might find you get what you need. And sometimes it comes down to that. And when considering that, the main thing is to keep everything that we can on the table as far as possibilities and not close our minds or the doors to things based on subjects and things that aren't realistic. Okay, you get where I'm going? So we have now the possibility of a community center. Okay, it's a very strong possibility. I think we all, well not all, but most of us think that that's a good thing, including me. Now, that's the end, or the ends. But to get there, we got to go through the means. How do we make that possible? So I know that there's options that we can arrive at. There's probably decisions that will be made to bring us to the point of either having it or not. The main thing, folks, is that we have a dialogue, that we talk with one another. And also that that dialogue is based on transparency, a level playing field, and integrity. Okay, that's critically important. But there's many in the room who feel, as this young lady expressed herself, she wanted to make a statement, you know, that there's certain things that are going on that may not be going on. And what I'm really asking, and I'm urging everyone to do, is to keep an open mind, okay, and engage in a dialogue. Because the dialogue will get us to a point where we will either go forward or we won't. But it will be your decision. Okay? You are the people, as I said, I serve. You are the people the town government serves. You are the people that the staff serves. So it's really ultimately your decision. But what's critically important is that you have all the information involved in this. Okay, there's a history that goes back maybe 20 years in our town. And there's a lot of things that I saw when I came into office, like the mayor has no power. But a lot of what I came into was a mindset of no. I try to bring things to the table which I thought were brilliant. I was the only one thinking that and saying it at the time. But the fact is that there was a mindset that was based on fact. The mindset of no was based on the recession that the town had experienced not too long ago. So that put a cap on open-mindedness. But what's happened over the years is we've taken that mindset of no and we've changed it to a mindset of let's find a way to get it done. And that should be the way we approach things. Now, I feel very, very strongly that if we go into this with the mindset of ain't no way this is going to happen, we could very well lose an opportunity. Okay? If there is an agreement that comes out of this and there is a partnership, I have total faith in our town manager and our town attorney that they will protect your interests, our interests, in any negotiation that occurs. Again, I say if we go into this and we say not only no, but hell no, we may be losing an opportunity. So the thing is, when you create a dialogue based on the interest of the town, not a special interest, not a personal interest, but on the interest of the town, that is the basis that we can make progress on. I'm ending that sentence with a preposition. I'm going to get in trouble with the nuns that taught me English. But I'm saying that to you because I know the mindset of a lot of people in this room. And I believe that you know my mindset. My special interest is you, period. The town of Payson, the local community. And that's it, no more, no less. And in that spirit, I'm open to a dialogue. I'm open to a discussion. I'm open to a reality test. Because if we have transparency, total, absolute transparency, if we have a playing field, if we have integrity, we don't have any problems. The challenge is to make certain that those three ingredients are inherent as we go forward. We understand. Now, if you close your ears and say, no, 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 you're not going to hear everything. And you need to be aware of everything that is on the table. Okay? As I say, do not make judgments based on history. That was then, this is now. Times have changed, and with it, the town is changing. The needs are changing. The only constant is change. And if we don't move as a town with the times, we're going to get left behind. There is absolutely no reason why our town is not further ahead of where it is. But it's about to get there. Okay, and this is why. The economy is better, number one. But more so, we live in one of the best places in the state. We're the heart of Arizona. You can get just about anywhere you want to go from here in 4 hours. We're an hour from Mesa. We're an hour and a half from the airport. We have the most beautiful spot, I believe, in the state, bar none. Right? We have state highways. It's a beautiful ride. It used to be more beautiful before the bushfire. But think about that. What has held us back? Maybe jumping ahead and making decisions that were based on misinformation. Maybe not. But as we go forward with this discussion, we need to, I strongly urge you to do this, and I know it's hard, but we need to keep our ears open. Listen. If you have the ability and the skill to listen, you'd be amazed at what you can learn and how it can help you make decisions. Now, I come from a culture, I grew up in New York, even though I wear a cowboy hat. And I come from a culture where nobody listened to anyone. Everybody talked. And the only time the conversation ended was when one person ran out of breath. And that gave the other one the opportunity to talk. Okay, I had it in my own family. My mom, God love her, and my aunt, God love her, Aunt Evelyn, they would have on Sundays what my brother and sister would call a talking contest, and this is how it went. My aunt would come over after church. My mom would usually go to church with my dad on Saturday evening. So she had the coffee made, and Aunt Evelyn would come over and park herself on one side of the table, my mom on the other side, and Aunt Evelyn had a coffee cake, which was crumb cake. And they'd begin the process of what we call the talking contest. So my aunt would start talking, and my mother would not be listening to a word she was saying, because I used to sit and watch them. And my mother was poised, waiting for my aunt to stop talking. And when she did, my mother would start talking. And that would set my aunt up to wait until my mother stopped talking so that she could start talking. So it went back and forth. But that was the culture in New York City when I was growing up. So I had to learn, I had to develop a listening skill, which I did when I was a deputy U.S. Marshal. I learned a lot by listening, and I was able to get a lot of my assigned duties done a lot easier when I was listening. Well, that skill applies. It's going to especially apply to us here in Payson as we go through the process of deciding what's best for the town and what's an advantage for the town. Being able to listen doesn't mean it shuts you up. It doesn't mean you should be bullied. It doesn't mean that your opinion is not respected, because your opinions will be sought. At the beginning of it was in the survey that I saw today. That's the beginning of the discussion. But if you really want yourselves to be heard and your wishes to be met, we got to go through the entire process. You've got to hear all of the facts. You've got to decide what is best for our town. That's your power, folks. That's your power, should you choose to take it, okay? And it's not anything that should be a surprise to you. To many of us, because we've been so conditioned to pay attention to quote-unquote authority, we tend to do that without really really speaking up for ourselves and standing up for ourselves. But on the other hand, it doesn't mean that you should deny another person their right to speak too. You know, so I mean, this is going to be a momentous decision that we will be making. And I emphasize the word we. Even though you elect us to do the business of the town, we, the council. But at root, I shouldn't say but, at root of that is the good of the people. So we represent the good of the people, not the good of the self or the good of a special interest. And I believe that if, as we go forward, if we are patient with one another and we talk to each other and we arrive at a conclusion, that conclusion should be down the road. It should not be now. You should give it a chance to breathe. And there's a lot of opportunity here. There's a lot of good things that can come out of this. And I feel that, I really believe that. If the means to the end is what I'm hoping it is. So I'm standing here today as your mayor, saying to you what I absolutely believe. Okay? This is what I absolutely believe. We are by no means at the point of making a decision. But if we're going to get, I'm going to reiterate, if we're going to get to that point, we have to hear everything. There will be no secrets, there'll be nothing hidden. It'll all be transparent. And this will encourage a dialogue. And when we're talking with one another, we have the opportunity to learn. And when we listen to one another, we have the opportunity to learn. You have this right, as does somebody that you might be in disagreement with. But it's critically important that you hear everything and you measure everything as we go forward. Because that's what I'm going to do. I promise you that. My dedication is to you, to the town of Payson. You are my special interest. Sounds like a song. But that's I swear on the Holy Bible, that is my only intent. That is my dedication to you. You have my word on that. You have my promise on that. That's where I'm coming from. I'm not looking for anything out of this other than your happiness and your feeling good about our town. We have a great town. We have a great community. As evidence in the way this community functions, the way we come together. A couple of years ago, we started to address the homeless problem. A lot of homeless people. I was hearing horror stories about families living in cars parked in the Walmart parking lot, mom and 4 kids. I heard stories about veterans, soldiers living in tents in the woods. They were deeply disturbing. And a lot of it was not brought to the table because the homeless hide. They don't want us to know about them. Because they're afraid. In some cases. In other cases, they just want their privacy. But the conversation started over a cup of coffee that ultimately became what is now the warming center. And there's people in this room that are very heavily involved in that particular project. I'm looking at one of them right now. And his name is James. And it is amazing what happened, because the churches were brought together at the same table and engaged in a dialogue, engaged in a discussion that brought us the warming center, which has functioned for the second year in a row. The Mount Cross Church has provided the shelter and the kitchen, and now it's organically becoming what will be a transitional housing project, which is probably going to happen in Rye, where there will be a mobile home set up so that people that come through the program will have a place to go to continue getting their lives together. Those who want to. There'll be some that don't want to. Okay, but those that want to, you should be helped. And there's a lot of people at the warming center doing God's work. This community has come together and made that happen, which is astounding. Where it was in the beginning, I said, a conversation over a cup of coffee, and where it is now. And the lives that have been saved, and the people's lives who have been turned around. There's people who have come through there and stayed there that are now self-sufficient, have jobs, got their lives cleaned up. Not a whole lot, but enough to make it worthwhile. One person, it makes it worthwhile. But this is the community that we have. We have a community with a heart. We all make mistakes. I'll be the first to admit it. Ask my wife, she'll tell you. So, but the thing is, folks, don't dwell on that. Don't dwell on the negative. Look forward. There's nothing that can be done to change the past. There's a whole lot that can be done to change the future. And I truly believe that. A couple other things I want to talk about quickly. Shirley, how much time do I have?
If you go until like 5 up, then that gives us about 40 minutes.
Okay.
You got to be done by 25 after 7.
25 after, okay. Shirley made the mistake of handing me the mic and saying, Tom, say a few words. I'm from New York, and there's no such thing as a few words, right? But there's other things that I wanted to talk with you about. Everybody by now knows that Ammo Inc. has left town, or in the process of leaving, okay? That struck a blow, I think, to all of us. You know, good paying jobs in an industry that really is Second Amendment manifestation. But there's other businesses now on the horizon that will be coming to town. So we lose one, it looks like we're going to get two that are really more than just a hope. They're looking like they're going to happen. I'm going to be meeting with one of them on Friday, and it's a pretty big business. When I have more to tell you, I will with this. But the thing is that we're poised on the threshold of something really big. Once we have a redundant internet, which we're well on our way to having. There's already one company coming in, Sparklight, that is bringing it. APS is running fiber up from the valley that will come through here, Star Valley, go up to Joseph City, swing across to Flagstaff, and go down the interstate, back down to the valley, and complete a loop. So between the two, we're going to have redundant internet. What's that going to do for the town? It's also going to give us a broader band, a broadband, a more robust broadband. What's that going to do for us? It's going to create a whole new business culture. Because people, you know, because we're landlocked, we don't have room to expand. But it's a blessing and a curse. But we will have affordable we'll say workforce housing coming in. I'm in conversation with 2 developers right now that really want to come in here, and it looks like that they're going to be here real soon. That's workforce housing. We're looking, James Zorn and I were just talking about bringing trade schools here with 2-year degrees to our community college. We have the land, we certainly have the need, and we can bring in 2-year associate degrees in carpentry, plumbing, electrician,
Welding.
construction, did I leave out plumbing? Welding, donut making, important guys. but the thing is that these are things that will help to build our town, because it will create a trade culture here. And we have 60%, approximately, between 55 and 60% of our population are retired, seniors, and require services that can only be provided by younger people, younger families. So what brings younger people here? Jobs, housing, schools, location. Okay, this is what we need to work on, and we are working on, and we're making progress. But to have these ingredients, and we have them. Okay, I have a lawyer in the family who has a practice in Gilbert, who operates from Payson, because the nature of the law she practices. She has an office in Gilbert. She can go there, or she can do it over the phone or online. And that's very telling to me. This means that we can have the light industry. We can have the professions right here in our town. Troy and I met with Pulse Industries today, up by the airport. We're trying to maintain a good relationship and keep them here in Payson. They will be providing up to 30 jobs. Right now they have 20. Light industry, they provide a service for the world with their industry. And there was a lot of misinformation hitting them about where we were coming from and what the prospects were for the town. Within an hour, we had that cleared up. We went and met with them and told them how important they were. They are to the town. They are. But that's just the beginning. There's really, really good things on the horizon. Really, really good things. And they are, there's a lot of things. We have some balls in the air. We have, for instance, a thing called stakeholders. We have a stakeholders group. Okay, the stakeholders group consists of APS, the different water facilities, the National Bass Fishing Association, and this group, the Wild Turkey Association. Now, it's not the turkey you're drinking, right? But they got some wild people in the Wild Turkey Association. They're very active. And there's about 50 different entities in this group. We had our first meeting in December, and at that meeting, we were able to get a commitment from our water distributor, our big water distributor, to pay for the management of the forest that's around the Blue Ridge Reservoir. That if that forest, if we have a catastrophic fire there, it's out of business, the entire system. So the forest has to be managed. And it will be now. We had a general meeting in December that broke into subgroups who are doing the work right now of organizing this. So we have the funding, and now we are working with the bureaucracy, which is the U.S. Forest Service, and they're working hard. So once we get the mechanism in place, then the thinning, the fire breaks, the cleaning up of that forest will occur. You all remember the last snowstorm we had, right? We talk about innovation. We had a pop-up brush pit that wound up at the event center, and we were able to get a lot of the fallen limbs and things like that brought to the event center and accumulated there. So half of it was taken, the town was relieved of it by the biofuels plant in Sholo. They took it as fuel at no cost to the town. Okay? Yeah, it was a big thumbs up. And the rest of it, the town had to pay to remove. We budgeted, the council budgeted $20,000, right, Barbara? Was it 20,000? Yeah. Okay. We budgeted $20,000. So that was innovation. It was something that the town was able to do, provide that service, to get those very dangerous tree limbs. And I will say right now that we lost somebody to a fallen tree limb. Dean Yonker was killed by a fallen tree limb, trying to do God's work, trying to clear a path for one of the charities. So it was a serious thing, but what happened was the town was innovative and brought that pop-up brush pit. And that's the new spirit in the town, addressing things and challenges as they occur. It's as simple as that. You know, it's the willingness to leave your ears open and leave the minds open and accept. And that suggestion was called into me by a lady that lives in the town. She called me and said, "Mayor, why don't we have a brush pit somewhere where we can put all these fallen tree limbs because the brush pits are closed?" And I said, "That's an astounding idea." She didn't believe me because she thinks I'm a politician. And I'm not. I mean, I'm an elected official. That's all I am. I'm a servant of the people. But that's what happened. So the biofuels plant, a man named Brad Worsley runs that. Brad jumped into the mix. He's part of our stakeholders group. And there you have it in action. We actually addressed a very, very challenging situation because we were innovative, because we listened. When people bring, I have this hat, ladies and gentlemen, and on the hat it says, the head of the Payson complaint department, and I get all the complaints. Some of them I get at 10:30 at night because people have my phone number. My wife is really happy about that. But when again, listen, because people that come to me with problems very often have a solution. So the key is to not only listen to what the problem is, but to search out the solution because they know the answers to a lot of things that are happening. Somebody may say, "Got a big pothole on Main Street. You need to fix it. This is where it is, and this is what it's doing to passing traffic." I mean, that's a simple thing. Other things are suggestions on what to do about our drug problem. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a major drug problem in our town. We have a major drug problem. And it's major in many ways because it's very, very quiet. The way drugs are moved is very quiet. I was involved for 8 years in enforcing and executing DEA warrants when I was a deputy marshal. I know how drugs move. I know the mindset of drug dealers. I know the mindset of drug users because I had to learn it. It was a very important part of my job. scary thing is that we have this problem, and it seems like nothing's being done about it. Well, I'm going to tell you something. Something is being done about it. And all I can tell you is that, right now. But there's something major being done about it. That until what came into being, was almost an impossible situation, but we have a new tool. And it's in execution right now. It's happening right now. And when it's cleared up, you'll know about it. And there'll be cause for celebration. And there's a lot of people in here. Janelle Sterner, Janelle, are you still here?
She just walked out.
She just walked out, okay. Well, she knew I was going to mention her, so. Janelle has been very dedicated to the effort of educating folks on what the dangers of that is. Last but not least, I'll do this quick because I've got to take questions, I've been talking with the town manager about putting an audio and strobe, putting audio, sirens and strobe lights on the water tanks that surround the town. If we have a catastrophic fast-moving fire at night, we're all asleep, we're in trouble. We are in trouble. So we're exploring doing that, coming up with some kind of an alert system that will wake people up if we are faced with a catastrophic fire. This has to happen. Part of that is, and what's really in process now, is the evacuation route. That is being established. Police chief, fire chief, fuels manager, Firewise committee are all involved in setting up an evacuation route for the town. When fire comes, we have to know what direction to go in to leave. We are in the process of bringing an evacuation route that will run around the event center and empty out onto Green Valley Park and exit from the town. It's another way out of the town if we got to do it. We got to be able to get out of this town quickly. If the fires come in the other direction, and that has to be used going south, we can shut down the highway coming north and just have 4 lanes to get the hell out of here. Okay? Then hopefully that'll never happen, but we got to be prepared for it, folks. So before I open it to questions, I urge you to keep in mind 2 things. To listen to other people, respect their opinions. Hopefully they'll respect yours. And the other thing is...
I need a mic first before all these hands go up.
You need a mic holder?
I'm coming,
You got one right behind you. Right
Well, I'm
there.
going to go over on that side, or whoever's come on this side be a mic holder. Shauna is going to be a mic holder.
Okay.
Okay.
So, and the last point, Charlie, I just want to make the last point. The last point is, as I said before, you are the boss. You are who we serve. I work for you. It's not the other way around. And in our political world, I mean the country, people have really been programmed to think that it's the other way around. No. We got rid of that in 1776. We, the people. You have the power, we have the power, should you choose to take it. And do not let anybody deny you of that power. You have a right to your opinion, you have a right to express your opinion, and to debate it if necessary. So, I'm going to open it to questions. I think the young lady over here.
Oh, this was the first person I saw.
Oh, okay, well,
Jump around, and remember,
Okay.
after she speaks, it's somebody over there. So Shauna has the other mic.
okay.
Tell your name.
Hi, I'm Penny DeGroot. I'm part of the Payson Homeless and Homeless Initiative.
You're who?
I'm Penny
Penny
DeGroot.
DeGroot. Hi, Penny.
Hi.
How you doing?
Great. My comment or question has to do with the facility for the pool and that. I know we've explored, we have.
Hold it up closer to you, ma'am. Yeah.
Okay. I know we've explored this option in the past. I'm wondering, with last year and COVID, there's a whole lot of gyms that are hurting right now, and if the town of Payson members would just support them. I'm a member of one gym and also the Tonopatchy gym. There is a pool in town, and I really do think that the town should capitalize on the fact that there is a pool in town, and if it needs to maybe change in such a way to accommodate other things that maybe some youth need. I know that the reservation works with the town of Payson in such a big way, and they want to support the town of Payson. And they've always done that and had a good relationship with the town of Payson.
Right.
So why don't we flood the current gyms and support them, and flood the Tonopatchy gym and support the pool that we already have? And with Taylor Pool or whatever the pool is here, let somebody run it or lease it for $1 a month and renovate it, make it beautiful at no cost to the town. And so that's my comment on that. I just have 2 comments. The other one has to do with when the town opened up the land or the rodeo grounds for us to take the slash.
Yeah.
It cost the town quite a bit of money, correct? Why didn't somebody charge us? I would have happily paid $20, $40 or something not to have to deal with the slash, and then turn around and make it mulch and then sell the mulch. Instead of having it cost the town $20,000 or something like that.
Well,
thank you so much.
thank you, Penny. As far as that went, it was an immediate problem. It was something that we had to set up quickly, and we really didn't have time to take it a step further. But I believe we were real fortunate to just get away with spending up to $20,000. We might not have spent that much, okay? But it went up to that. But we solved a major problem. As far as the pool goes, Troy Smith and I have been in negotiation with the tribe. We have a trusting relationship with the tribe because of what the council and myself and the water department have been able to negotiate and work with the tribe, saving them a lot of money. Now, our history in this country is not so good when we're dealing with Native Americans, and there's a trust issue. So when I first met with them, I went to their first meeting, I did all my handstands and all, told them how wonderful everything was going to be, and I didn't even get a smile out of them. So I figured, well, here's what I'm going to tell you. You don't necessarily have to listen to what I say, watch what I do. And I was able to pull off something that saved them a lot of money and engendered a trust between the town and the tribe. So we went and we talked with the council about using, during the summer, using their pool. And we could do that, but they already have members that have entitlement to using the pool. The pool's not that big, but they are willing to work with us to, in some way, get some use, get some people in there swimming. But they have to have priority for their members because they stay with them and they pay membership. So that is in the pipeline. We've had that conversation. We're waiting for their response to our request. But that's a good request. We have to. I'm not in charge of the mics, but we'll get to you. Who's
Shauna,
next?
do you have someone over there?
Yeah.
Okay, remember to keep your questions brief, please.
Hi, this is Greg Dix. Was curious about the House bill where they're trying to impose this 7-day turnaround on permits and how the city of Payson would be prepared to deal with that, in your opinion.
Are you talking about 7-day permits or what? I'm not sure.
Building permits.
Oh, building permits? That I can't give you an answer on that, so I'm not going to try. But I can. If you give me a way to contact you, I'll find out and I'll get you that answer. Okay. So don't leave without giving me a way to reach you. Okay.
Yeah, Pat here.
Pat White. I guess this is more of an event than anything else, but I was always taught that if you don't pay attention to history, you're doomed to repeat it. And I have a 9-year history with Payson, And in that time, I've developed a visceral dislike and distrust of anything MHA. And Payson just continues to look at MHA and with more plans to get in bed with them again. We're offered this bright, shiny bauble, and everybody looks at it and goes, wow, that would be nice. But I also have seen a town in the last 9 years become increasingly gridlocked from Thursday through the following Tuesday, with Wednesdays up for grabs. And it's like we never deal with the basic issues that make this the wonderful place that it is to live. But when we have to hide in our homes on the weekend for all the traffic and the infrastructure that we don't have, and yet we're looking at baubles.
Well, the traffic situation is horrible. I mean, there's no other way to describe it. Our police chief has worked and is working with ADOT, who controls the timing of the lights. The problem is the traffic lights. There's been suggestions that we do a bypass and all that. That'd be good for the travelers coming through this town, but not so good for the businesses. See, so I know Mike, we'll talk about that, but I'm saying that's the pressure point. But the thing is that if we continue doing what we've been doing, the traffic flow will be better. It's never going to be an easy thing to address. But there's things like we could change with the traffic coming north and swinging east at 60, and coming up 87. There's that petition there. There's 2 lanes that can go right. Most people don't know that. They all wait for the one lane. So if we can and we will, we're working with ADOT on making that a clear 2 lanes. I mean, we got a challenge of getting people across that street. Pedestrians, that would probably mean building a bridge or something going underground. But if you have 2 lanes, that solves it going that way. It doesn't solve it in reverse. But it is something that is being worked on. We've had it for a long time, as you said. So it's something that we have to solve, and we can. But our tax base really would be hurt if we hurt our businesses. And the thing is, we become a pass-through. We're a pass-through town. What we need to do is become a magnet. We need to be a destination, and that's doable. And again, that takes planning, takes money, it takes innovation, it takes vision. And if we have that, and when we do it, these things can and will manifest. It's organic, because what's happening with this town, and the town moving with the times, we are now moving with the times, will create opportunities and solutions to problems that we have. What would be your solution on the traffic problem that you just mentioned? What would be your solution?
A local bypass.
A local bypass.
Just for locals, don't even publish it.
Okay. I'm not laughing anyway. Okay. Who's got the microphone? Okay.
Keep it short, Janelle.
We'll get to you.
Keep it short, Janelle.
I know. Hi, Janelle Sterner, former vice mayor, been on council for 4 years. Again, Tom, you said, Mayor, regarding transparency. I was there for transparency for 4 years. With this RCEA, MHA Community Center, my biggest thing is the transparency. Fighting to make sure we as the taxpayers, that again, council works for us, that every single aspect of this community center that MHA wants to put in here, how are they going to definitely go about making sure the designs, everything, because I think there are designs, but they don't want to show them. I'm not sure, but that's why I'm here to clarify. How do we make sure that the RCEA, MHA really gives the tax community stakeholders the information that we want, and it's definitely transparent because we knew it did happen before. So how are we going to hold them accountable?
Well, the answer to that, you know, is partially what I saw today. I saw the results of a survey that was highly detailed as to what folks want in a community center, what they're looking for recreation, outdoor, and in some cases indoor. So that's the start of it. There's nothing we can do about the past. We can't change the past. We can influence what going forward. We can influence the future. And as I said to everybody in this room, listen to things that you may not like, you may not want to hear, but listen. Listen. You learn a lot by doing that. And then express your opinions. And the people that you've listened to, I would hope they would listen to you. But I've heard what you said many times. Many times. And I understand, I totally understand where you're coming from. But if we are to go forward, we will go forward with something that works for both entities, okay? If they don't work, then they're not gonna happen. But the idea, if you shut it down now, then there's no chance of it happening. And I understand, I know where you're coming from, and I can see the faces looking at me right now. They're probably gonna start throwing the shoes at me. But what I'm saying to you folks is, give it a chance to breathe. Okay, we've all, not we all, but many of us, there's a history here. I don't have that long of a history here, but I do have the ability to look at things and figure out where they came from. And part of that process is very helpful in determining where things are going. So there's, again, you can't always get what you want, but if you try sometime, you just might find you get what you need. And that's what we may get out of this. Can you get a microphone to this gentleman?
We already have a couple of others. So we've got Inga here, we've got Dan, we've got this guy over here, and on that side, we're going back and forth. And then we have Steve first before.
I'm not going to turn this guy down. You see the size of him? Okay, we're going to get to you, okay?
Right, just one question.
Sure.
How many people in here are for a bypass? To go around the town and through the traffic?
$17 million. I was on the board that studied that.
Wrong kind of bypass.
So is it doable?
I think that is something that anything's doable, but what's the result, you know, of it? And the traffic problem is horrendous, and that is something we're going to have to deal with, and we're going to have to come up with a solution for it. But what's that?
Can we put a toll gate at the casino?
At the casino, I'd like to put a toll gate on my property, on my private road. Okay, what's the next question? I won't give you an answer I don't have, but I'll stay in the discussion as things develop with that solution.
Inga's,
Yeah.
I'll talk to you about that later.
Okay.
That's another topic for another day.
Inga.
Hi, real quick. What would the community center offer the citizens to draw them out, other than the pool, which Penny already brought out, is one in town? And since it's no cost to the city, to the town of Payson, how is it going to be funded? Where's the money going to come from? And then real quick, you said a magnet for Payson, people coming here. What happened about the Main Street magnet that we were talking about at one time?
Well, the magnets consist of a positive and a negative, or a yin and a yang. So there can be two parts to it, Inga, that could be used. The more attractions that we have, and the more reason for people to come here, the more they're apt to come. So what the community center, where that is proposed to be, is over on the east side. the Main Street is more central and west. And there are efforts right now. Main Street is in the process of beginning to build after all these years. That new restaurant, anybody been to that barbecue restaurant yet? I mean, wow, good. I was going to move in. that is a tremendous anchor. And then down the other end of the street at the golf course, they're building 60 patio homes on the golf course, and they're completely refurbishing that, so that's going to be an attraction. You have things like Deuce's Restaurant, and I don't want to leave businesses out. Well, the community center is going to offer, activity, entertainment, exercise, and they are the plan is to have an indoor pool, which is a big thing, pickleball courts, probably soccer fields, and things of that nature. Because what the plan and what the proposal is that this will bring tournaments here. We have tournaments here the season round, and those tournaments bring people. So the more people that we can bring here is a good thing, which brings me to another point, which I forgot to mention. We're working on right now a plan to cover the rodeo grounds and to increase the seating, double the seating of the rodeo grounds. It's going to happen. It's just a matter of timing. But if we can get that, we can have a much longer season. We can use the summer season for concerts. We can have a stage that we can bring in big acts if we have 7,000 seats there. We can bring in equestrian events, like the Arabian horses down in Scottsdale. We could have them here. We could have more rodeos. And we're trying to get a sponsor who will pay for it, and we'll allow them to put their name up on the event center. And we got somebody working on it even as I speak. So that will be another magnet. And that's what I'm saying. The potential in this town is incredible. It's enormous. There's so much that can happen here that can make life for all of us pretty nice. Pretty nice. And as I say, we have a great spirit in this town. We have some disagreement. There's a lot of people I disagree with, and a lot of people who disagree with me. But that can be worked through if we have transparency, if we have a level playing field, and if we have integrity. When we have those three ingredients, we don't have a problem. That's simple.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, Dave, how you doing?
Good evening, and thank you, Mr. Mayor, for coming and sharing a lot of what the future of Payson is going to be looking like. And in the last 5 years that I've been here, one of the things that I've noticed, and I didn't really understand what the background was, but I've watched our school systems get Chromebooks. I've watched scholarships being given out through Aspire program to our youth. And recently, we saw COVID testing put on by the MHA, and worked with Gila County for that, and COVID, getting the shots here and stuff. I think that we're blessed to have the community that we have. So many nonprofits here, and so many foundational nonprofits, such as MHA, that are here to support the community, and I'm really thankful for that. Secondly, I'm really thankful for what the council is doing. They're moving forward, and as you said last year, Mr. Mayor, we're in uncertain times, and we're moving through those times the best that we can. And I'm really looking forward to the opportunities that the council is bringing forward, the business opportunities and so on. And it just one thing that I really want us to try to keep our focus on as we move into the future, and it comes upon us pretty quick. We're going to need to figure out ways to build more revenue sources for the town of Payson. We have to bring more revenue into the town. Concerts, tournaments, things like this will help to bring that revenue. But what I don't think that some of the people in this room really think about is about in 7 years from now, we're going to be losing about $4.5 million worth of tax revenue. And you look at the town budget and you start to think, well, geez, where does that number come from? And it comes from the sunset of 0.88% tax. And so bringing this new revenue in, new development in for low-income housing, more residents coming into town, more businesses coming into town, those are the only ways we're going to remain viable without having to go to the town people and voting for a new tax. So thank you, Mr. Mayor, for all that you're doing and what's going on with the town council. I'm looking forward to seeing progress. My only question to you, sir, is you mentioned what is the time, my question is what is the time frame do you anticipate that we're going to see the potential of an agreement and groundbreaking for a new pool? We've had it closed for 2 years now. We have one of the top swim teams in northern Gila County, and they really suffer not having those type of things. And I think that the adults and seniors could use it as well. So I'm looking for a time frame because we really need to, kind of put a mark on the wall.
Well, thanks for the comments, Steve. The key here is getting community support and belief in it. And the process we're going through is building that support, unless I'm mistaken, unless I'm not reading this right. The time frame, I don't know, but I do know that when and if an agreement is reached, it will have the support of the community. And that comes with the understanding of trust. There's trust on both sides of the issue. And there are both sides of the issue. But the thing is, it depends on mutual respect. And having that trust is what will allow us to go forward. And not having it will curtail it. But again, I say, keep your ears open, listen, try to get the facts. Now, I'm not going to say anything, Michelle, about the roundup. But I'm kidding. Not really. But the thing that it behooves all of us is to understand an opportunity when it presents itself, and to trust the people that are representing the town. If you have reservations about where this is all going and where it's been, then if you don't have an inherent trust in me, the town council, if you don't have an inherent trust in our town manager, and the commissions that are in place, then it's going to make it difficult to get this done. And I'm not asking you for trust based on just on weak facts and things like that. I ask for your trust based on what I've done and where I am and who I am and where I come from. Despite what you might have heard during the campaign. Okay? That's politics. What we're talking about now is our town. Amen. Okay? And a big amen. So I think it's very, very important that we listen to one another. Please listen. Shirley.
Oh, this is Pam. She's another board member, and she has a question for you.
Hi, Pam, you're another board member?
Yes.
And you have a question for me?
Yes.
Okay.
Joan Kroc, the widow of Ray Kroc, gave the Salvation Army in a lower income portion of San Diego City carte blanche to the Salvation Army to build a community center, much like what is being proposed. What I saw being able to go there was the coming together of a large community, healthy activities, sports teams, all sorts of things for everybody from seniors to toddlers. It was wonderful. In our previous proposals here, there seemed to be far more questions than any answers we ever had out of this proposal for ice skating, et cetera, et cetera. Therefore, my concern is that we must have complete information on what this is going to cost the town Other than that, I think it's wonderful to have something like this, someplace for kids to go and all of us seniors too.
Well, there's going to be options and we need to explore them. Here's an option. A year and a half or so ago, I was talking with the YMCA, right, Lord? And the YMCA, when we were talking about putting a community center and indoor pool in town, they said, you build it, we'll run it. Why don't we go and talk to them about running the community center? It wouldn't cost the town anything. You know, these are options that we can explore. I'm not saying that would work, I don't know. But I'm open to hearing any and all options. And that day, when the CEO for this region, the YMCA, said that to me, it really struck home. Because they have great programs. They have child care, they have job services, and all that. And so why not take them up on the offer, you know? Nudge, nudge, intent. So I'm saying, you know, the thing is, we got to be open and listen to all suggestions. And we got to do what's best for our town, not our personal, whatever we harbor personally. Okay? I'm not telling you anything other than a fact. I mean, really, if something's going to work, it takes more than one opinion. It takes a lot of opinions. And it takes respect for people that are in opposition to other people and other ideas. It's critically important to you. So I'm going to leave you. Before you wanted to ask me a question?
Well, he has one first.
Okay. Oh, okay, we got one there. Okay, Cliff.
Yes, I'm Cliff Potts, and I'm the Vice President of the MHA Foundation. And I just really appreciate what you're saying here about open dialogue, about transparency, about our efforts to move forward as a community and as a people to improve our community. And that's well within the framework of the mission of the MHA Foundation. We are here to promote education opportunities and health opportunities within our community. That is our mission. And this whole park and eventual community center plays right into that role, but we can't do it without the support of the town and the people that are in this town wanting it. If there's no desire to have a community center that serves the entire community, just like what we were talking about, because that's the vision we have, is that it will serve the youth, it will serve the underserved people that aren't able to get out and enjoy the facilities that are available now. The park will have hiking paths, it's going to have the fields and athletic opportunities that you're talking about. It will be to serve the community, but it has to be done with open dialogue. It has to be done with the desire of the people of Payson to have a facility like that. And it'll be done in transparency. That's the whole effort that's being expended right now, is to talk about what do we want. One thing that was mentioned is a suspicion that there are plans for the facility. Really, you don't get to that point without going through the discussions that we're having now. It's the reason that I came tonight, was to learn and to listen, and I appreciate that we're having this dialogue, and I hope that we can continue. And I appreciate your attitude, Mayor Morrissey, that we can be transparent with each other and move forward.
Thank you. And respect each other, Cliff. I think that that's part of the ingredient, that we respect each other. That's from both sides of the table. Somebody in the back too wants it. I promised him. So yes, sir.
Oh, way in the back? Okay.
Yeah. Go ahead. Yeah. You got the mic.
Yes.
What's your name?
Jim Hibble, Payson citizen, retiree.
Yeah.
Regarding
you're too young to be a retiree. Hey, come on.
Regarding the community center,
yeah.
There's been all the different questions that have been asked.
Yeah, bring your mic up to you.
Regarding the community center and all the questions so far that have been asked, some have been drawn a little bit on the financial side. And I think that's something that we certainly have to consider fully.
Yes.
Now, you know, as far as your comment about history, history is the past, but you know, history is still used to help forecast the future. And as you know probably better than anyone, the financial relationships between MHA and the town of Payson over the last few years has not been all that agreeable. So, what I'm suggesting that when and if this whole program ever reaches the point of financial decision making, you know, those who are making those decisions for the town, particularly if the town is going to be involved in using taxpayer money to do whatever we're going to do, that the art of the deal be put onto the analysis. There's winners and losers financially, and I think you certainly have, that has to be seriously considered at the time when those type of decisions would be made. That's all.
Okay, good point. Okay, the man in the back, I promised him.
All right.
And then we're
Yeah, we've got about 4 more minutes,
Okay.
so.
This one first, Shirley. He was first.
Okay, he's first, and then the guy in the back.
Okay, now I promised him. Yes, sir.
I'd like to make a comment about the internet and services like that. We have a lot of discussion about how important it is for business, but I can tell you that with COVID, more and more people are working from their homes.
Yeah.
And if you do not have reliability, and what I mean by reliability is you can have a meeting on Zoom or any of the other platforms and not be kicked off for 5 minutes or 10 minutes or a half an hour. Every single day I get kicked off. And if there is one thing that will prevent businesses from coming into this town and for people relocating in this town to work, it's unreliable internet.
I absolutely agree with you, and that's been the challenge. That's what is being fixed, even as we speak. It's already in the process. Man in the back with the black hat. Yes, sir.
Mr. Mayor, my name is Don.
Hi, Don.
And my comment and question is that the town was about to make a decision on 401 and 402, and the current attorney, Mr. Pierce, was guiding the town in the direction of dismantling it until you came to an impasse and decided not to. And then at that point, at some point, it was decided to move ahead without the town's consent and to bypass the town, the citizens of the town. Well, going forward with that, past that, coming back to this, the park or this community center, I think that we need more transparency, but also heading into this, into a recession where it looks like we're headed, spending trillions of dollars and printing money that is worthless, as it's going to be. The town should, as I heard what you once say, buy that property, not necessarily rent it from the MHA, who I think is a nonprofit, if I'm sure Mr. Potts, right? So they should give us a pretty good deal on the dollar for that property. And we don't have to pay for the infrastructure so much. It's pretty much a done deal, and dollar on the pennies. I mean, really a cheap deal for us as citizens, right?
Well, I do feel.
Oh, and also one last thing, on that survey was horrible. It was slanted towards, let's build this thing right now. I want to see when it's done. Let's dig into the grounds and how many people in this room with their 10 masks and COVID shots are going to go swim in the pool, which they're not. No one in here is going. Are going to swim in the pool, and it was slanted, so there was nothing in there that says, do you want this thing? If you're against it, you know, here's why. It was all for let's do sunshine and sun petals and roses. That's my last comment.
Well, Don, this is only the beginning of the process. This is only the beginning of the process.
I'm with you.
You know, it's not done by any means. What I'm saying is the beginning of the dialogue between two people across, say two people, but entities across the table from one another. And an important thing to do is to fact check, you know, check the facts. And then the art of the deal was brought up, and that's the way we move. Well, I'm going to end it now. I'm sorry for. I got one more question. Okay.
Keep it short. Go, John.
Yeah. What is the status on the extension of the Green Valley or Green
Valley Park, the Green Valley
Boulevard
Park.
there?
Yeah.
And then you've got this gravel pit all of a sudden into the middle of it.
Well, the status of that road is it's in the middle of the NEPA study, which is the environmental study. So that's really one of the most important things that we need to get done. As we go forward, once that is complete, then we can look at how we're going to fund it. And there's available money, a lot of money for infrastructure that's going on right now. So if we get the NEPA study done in time, we'll be able to tap into that. That's 1.2 miles of road that's 200 feet across. And that's going to open a lot of doors economically, but it's going to provide a safe route out of this town, should we have the unthinkable. But it is in progress. It is work. Thank you, Shirley.
Okay, give Mr. Mayor a hand.
Thank you, and I appreciate you not throwing your shoes at me.
Yeah. Okay, for those of you who would like to get onto our mail list, I always send out